lined up for our interrogation this morning. And first, we start with the Guardian newspaper, headlines only. We will come back during the second half of the show to look at some of the stories in details. And the lead story on the front page of the Guardian newspaper says, again, federal government inaugurates committee to renegotiate 2009 agreement with ASU others. That's the lead story on the front page of The Guardian. Still staying with The Guardian newspaper, NNPC sells PMS to Ipman at 995 naira per litre after DSS intervention. 99% of wealthiest Nigerians evade tax, report reveals. Okay. 3 policemen dismissed for killing Kwara police students. And Abbas flees 10,000 naira monthly upkeep for pensioners. 450% fuel price hike pushing businesses to the brink. This is according to the LCCI. And Dubai sees AI potential in Nigeria as country assures investors. Okay, still staying with the Guardian newspaper, rescuing school system from claws of academic frauds, malpractices. Power minister denies multiple grid collapses, blames minor trip-offs. World Bank, African Development Bank move to boost renewable energy in Africa. Apologize to Nigeria, Senate tells Libya government. And Katsina Lords Foundation for investing $2 million in agriculture and health sectors. And coming from the FIRS, no new taxes as FIRS allays fears over reforms. All right, we move on to the Punch newspaper. Marketers plan petrol import to breach shortfall. And LP kicks as Soludo rejects absolute LG autonomy. FG plans cash transfer for 20 million poor Nigerians. PDP crisis, Damagu gets reprieve, leads Ondo campaign. And fresh crisis hits Rivers as pro-Fubara, Wike lawmakers clash. EFCC arrests radio host over 700 million naira Ponzi scheme. Wow. TCN begins probe as Minister debunks grid collapse claim. (2025) budget, reps seek better funding for polytechnics. PDP kicks off campaign, vows to unseat APC in Ondo State. And PDP files petition to challenge Edo governorship election. Zamfara local government election to hold soon. This is according to Governor Lawal. And the Tribune newspaper is next. Number of malnourished children in hospitals rising in Northeast amid high food insecurity. This is according to the International Committee of the Red Cross. And national grid collapse, TCN restores power to 90% substations. And Rivers crisis, police acted professionally. We are building strong economy that can withstand shocks. This is according to Vice President Shettima. Okay, how EFCC operatives invaded our station, abducted presenters. This is according to a radio station in Enugu State. Police launch protection squad to prevent attacks in Ekiti schools. Alright, we move on to the Nation newspaper. Economy in upward swing. Very promising, says Cardozo, that's the governor of Central Bank. And FIRS allays fears over tax reforms. Ondo 2024. Stay away from voting arena. People without PVC warned. And still on the Ondo election, INEC releases voters' registration to political parties. And the police says it's ready for the election. This is according to the IGP. Daily Trust newspaper is next, and the lead story on the front page says passengers stranded as airlines cut domestic flights. And cholera killed 45 across 28 local government areas in Kano State, according to the state government official. Governor Yusuf jets out of Kano as NNPP crisis deepens. All right, we move on to this day newspaper, and after momentary relief, inflation hits 32.70%. CJN laments number of pending cases, threatens sack of non-performing judges. Adelabu claims Nigerians no longer need petrol for electricity on improved nationwide power supply. And according to the WTO, it says members need to remain constructive to achieve outcomes. That's the World Trade Organization headed by Okonjo-Iweala, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Nigeria's representative there. And tax reforms, FIRS boss in Senate allays investors' fears. Maltreatment of eagles in Libya. President Tinubu demands CAF's intervention, justice. We move on to the Leadership newspaper, and it's laced with the story: party crisis, PDP governors backed Damagum to avoid legal battle. And up to next is the Vanguard newspaper. Oxfam warns of worsening inequality as 99% wealthy Nigerians evade tax. Customs seizes 4 containers of 1.2 billion naira illicit drugs in Lagos. Okay, we move on to the Sun newspaper, and it leads with the story: uproar in Senate over push to test politicians for drugs. And FG reconstitutes committee to renegotiate Varsity Pact. PDP crisis battle shifts to NEC as governors broker truce. All right, those are the headlines across the papers this morning that we can take. We will return after the short break for in-depth analysis of some of the stories that we have read. It's the newspaper review on Citizen 93.7 FM, Abuja. We will be back in a moment. Please don't go away.
Oya o my people, make una come gather here. Which kind tori una wan hear on top radio? Wetin dey catch fire on top social media? Bring am on top Make We Talk Am for Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja every Monday go reach Thursday, and the time na 5:10 wey be 10 minutes after 5. Make we talk am as e dey be. Oya o my people, make una come gather here.
The Renewed Hope Agenda for Nigeria is the brainchild of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. It is geared towards renewing the hopes of Nigerians for a better future through its policies, projects, and programs that are aimed towards lifting the GDP and economic growth of the nation by improving standard of living of the average Nigerian. The Renewed Hope Agenda Radio is poised to promote all of the above while enlightening Nigerians as well. Join us every Tuesday afternoon, 2 p.m. on Citizen FM Radio, 93.7, Labor House, Central Business District, Abuja. Renewed Hope Agenda Radio on 93.7 FM. The future starts today.
And we'll get there.
Did you miss out on the news during the week? Not to worry. A retrospect is here to make up for the missed information. Retrospect is a complete package of all the major news headlines that made the airwaves from Sunday to Saturday. Join me, Esther Musu, on the program Retrospect on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja every Sunday at 6 p.m. Retrospect. We keep you informed.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. It's still Newspaper Review, Citizen 93.7 FM here in Abuja. Welcome to the second half of the show, and this is where we look at some of the stories in detail. In-house analysis already in Mr. Salmon Salami. Good morning, sir.
Very good morning to you, Lawrence.
Yes, Mr. Salami is the Chief Operating Officer, Citizen 93.7 FM, and as usual, we will seek his indulgence to help us navigate the second half of the show. Mr. Salami, these headlines. Again, federal government inaugurates committee to renegotiate 2009 agreement with ASU and others. In what could be described as a policy inconsistency, the Nigerian government has again inaugurated a committee to renegotiate the 2009 agreement it had with university-based unions. The unions include the Academic Staff Union of Universities, that's ASU, the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, as well as the National Association of Academic Technologists. In 2009 2022, the Mohamed Buhari administration inaugurated a 7-person committee chaired by Professor Onimi Briggs, tasked with the renegotiation of the 2009 agreement reached with the academic staff union of universities. On Tuesday, the current administration inaugurated another committee chaired by former head of service of the Federation, Yayale Ahmed, to review the draft proposed agreement with the various university-based union. That the Minister of Education, who inaugurated the panel, said the move became necessary following the expiration of the time of the previous committee and the need to keep discussions on to avoid breakdown of understanding that could result in industrial disharmony. Mr. Salami.
On a personal note, I see this as unsettling and disturbing, in the sense that this was an agreement the federal government had with the unions in the university in 2009. During President Muhammadu Buhari's regime, it was renegotiated. And the committee was headed by Nimi Briggs. And this time around, another committee was just set up yesterday, headed by Yayale Ahmed. Yayale Ahmed was former
head of service.
Yayale Ahmed, by all standard, has a pedigree. Yayale Ahmed is a serious-minded human being. My question is this: why another committee to renegotiate? You see, to me, I do not think we are paying enough premium or giving education the deserved attention. We are not. And I do not think it is right the way we are going. We should prioritize education. As at today, the world is knowledge-driven, and education is everything. Robust education. Lawrence, what percentage of our annual budget goes for education or into education? Are we really serious about education? Are we ready for education? Is Nigeria ready to take a rightful place in the Committee of Nations? I do not think we will be able to do that if we do not prioritize education and, as a matter of deliberate policy, commit ourselves to giving our children a robust education. I pray that ASU, SANU, and other unions will be magnanimous and be patient with the federal government. Why am I saying this? When two elephants fight, it's only the grass that suffers. And we are now saying never again should we go back to those dark days when our universities were closed for almost a year. Never again.
All right. I join you in calling for understanding from the unions, but I also urge the state to also show utmost good faith during this negotiation, because the unionists, members of the various unions, are also Nigerians. And if you put all your cards on the table and show good faith and show cause, they are likely to understand with you. It's only when you decide to employ tactics, delay tactics, think you're smart by half. Most of these people have been teaching all their lives. They've been doing research all their lives. So they can see through you when you decide to be smart by half. So I think everyone should be on the same page, and let's see how we're going to do this. Although we have set a precedent in this country where it will have to take the presence of the president himself before things are resolved. Well, if that is what we need, maybe at the end of this negotiation, Mr. President will need to meet with the unionist himself, just like he did during the minimum wage crisis, and sort this thing once and for all. It's not too much of a price for us to pay. The office of the president is a very busy one. It's not supposed to be involved in every negotiation that we find ourselves, but that is where we have found ourselves in this country. Well, if that is the price we need to pay, Mr. President, we plead, we beg, we urge you to see, because education is very, very important. If it will take the presence of the president and his commitment to bring about lasting peace with this 2009 negotiation. It's been how many years now, Mr. Salami? Every time we keep hearing about this negotiation that has never been implemented. We hope that this time around we'll put a closure to it.
We just pray that the federal government is sincere and committed to this. But I have an issue here. Must Mr. President intervene in everything?
Exactly. That's our lot. That's how we have been now.
That is not to say that he should not. In actual fact, he should please intervene if possible today. Because we cannot afford, we can ill afford another ASU strike. Never again.
All right. The phone lines are open now. You can join the conversation. Call us on 0903 2229797. You can also call us on 0818 2222205 or 0818 2222206. And not forgetting that you can send us a WhatsApp message on any of the numbers. It's still newspaper reviews on Citizen 93.7 FM here in Abuja. Mrs. Salam is still staying with the Guardian newspaper. Power Minister denies multiple grade collapses, blames minor trip-offs. And the story has it that the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, has refuted widely reported claims of multiple grid collapses that occurred Monday and yesterday, describing the incident as minor trip-offs. In an exclusive interview with The Guardian, Adelabu clarified that the disruptions in electricity supply resulted from brief system trips, which were quickly addressed. The minister explained that the issue on Monday occurred at approximately 1848 hours, while yesterday similar incidents were recorded at 9:17 hours and 14 hours, resulting in supply cut to several distribution companies. When you talk about, there's a quote here, when you talk about grid collapse, it will affect 100% of our grid infrastructure. These were lines tripping in certain parts of the country. Even major sectors like Abuja, Lagos were unaffected. The minister noted that such grid disturbances are not unique to Nigeria, attributing them to weather and aging infrastructure. He emphasized the swift response to the incident demonstrated improvement in the management and stability of the national grid. Mr. Salome.
Kudos to the Honorable Minister of Power, Adelabu, Honorable Minister Adelabu. Swift response. Things may go wrong, and being human, things will go wrong. It's not so much so what goes wrong, but our response to it is very important. I give kudos to the Honorable Minister for responding swiftly and for giving us hope. Yes, he said it was a minor trip-off. I want to agree that it was, because no sooner than it happened than we saw response and normalcy. This is the way to go. Somebody must be seen to be in charge in such a way that when things happen and you get response or you get explanation as to what happened, why it happened, and what will follow next. This is governance. This is responsibility. I do not like projection. What do I mean? A situation whereby you have excuses for everything. excuses may be genuine, but no matter how genuine an excuse is, it remains what it is, and it does not make things go on. But this is a different ball game. Here is the honorable minister who, on noticing what happened and that will jeopardize the economy and, of course, the commerce or the businesses of so many people, and in fact the life of a nation, and he faces it squarely with a view to rectifying it. This he did to the admiration of many Nigerians. While we are not there yet, there is hope. And from what happened on Monday and Tuesday, then there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, Mr. Salamezi, and very few people argue about the fact that this minister is really putting in a lot, especially since after his appointment. And don't forget that this is a sector that we have left highly without investment over the years, and they've been putting in a lot. And this, for example, he just announced that from December, 1.3 million meters under this rep will be distributed. The minister announced that the federal government will deliver 1.3 million electricity meters by December out of the 3.2 meters under the World Bank Distribution Sector Reforms Programs initiatives. He stressed that the remaining meters will be delivered in the second quarter. These are infrastructure that will help at the end of the day to make sure that whatever investment we have been putting in this sector, we will. It's not a sector that you invest today, you see the result immediately.
Don't even forget that how did we get here? There has been tremendous rot in this sector, and it's been clearing the rot, and it takes time. But the important thing is that the infrastructure decay that has been there for a long time, the man is trying to fix it. We are not making excuses for him, and we are not saying that we have gotten there. What we are saying is, at least there is somebody who is in charge, and the person is taking responsibility and owning up, and we are seeing result. It is visible that the electricity supply is appreciably better than what it was. And kudos again to Honorable Minister.
Yes, kudos to the Minister of Powers for his strides so far in that sector. Mr. Salami, we move on to the Punch newspaper. And meanwhile, the phone lines are still open. You can join the discussion. Call us on 0903 2229797. You can also call us on 0818 2222205 or 0818 2222206. Okay, federal government plans cash transfer for 20 million poor Nigerians. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, has said that the increase in Nigeria's revenue recorded in the 2024 fiscal year is being strategically allocated to various social intervention programs aimed at improving the living standards of citizens and addressing pressing societal needs. The minister said the social investment program is targeted to impact 60% of the poorest, reaching 20 million persons. He also revealed a comprehensive proposed agenda for economic reforms, which aims to reduce inflation, create jobs, and stimulate growth in key sectors of the economy. Mr. Salam.
Lawrence, stop giving people fish. Teach them how to fish. And make the environment, the atmosphere conducive to fishing, and provide them with the fishing materials. Personally, and this was on a personal note, I do not agree to this cash transfer and palliative. I'm not saying it may not be necessary To now say that that is the solution to our problem, cannot be. It's a stopgap arrangement thing. And that is what it should be. It should not be the way of doing things. My position is simple. Let the government face governance. Let the government provide the necessary infrastructure and the conducive environment for businesses to strive. The ease of doing business, make it easier, better, and less cumbersome. And invest in the people, their health, welfare, and well-being of Nigerians. Stop giving palliatives, and to a large extent, let us be deliberate and intentional about it. A situation whereby to every problem is palliative, to every problem is cash transfer. To me, I do not think that is the solution. It may be a stopgap thing, and I do not have any serious problem with that. But it's becoming one palliative too many.
All right, let's move on. Okay, still staying with the Punch newspaper. PDP crisis, Damagum gets reprieve, leads Ondo campaign. A chairman of the PDP Governors Forum and Governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, the governors elected under the PDP have annulled the suspension of some National Working Committee members and restored the status quo to when Umaru Damagum led a unified NWC. Chairman of the PDP Governors Forum and Governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, made this announcement on Tuesday during an interview in Abuja. Since taking over as acting national chairman, Damagum has been confronted with mounting criticism from party leaders due to the ongoing crisis in the party, leading to calls for his resignation. In a surprise turn of events on Friday, Damagum's faction of the NWC announced, shortly after all this, to address the issues, the PDP governors held a Zoom meeting on Monday, but ended without reaching a conclusion. The chairman of the PDP Governors Forum announced in Abuja that internal conflicts have been resolved. Mr. Salami.
I think kudos once again to Governor Bala Mohammed, the governor of Bauchi State and the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum. It was a brilliant and cerebral intervention. It was so critical, significant, and a very useful and purposeful one. Brilliant and robust intervention. The crisis in PDP is surmountable. It is power game, as of course you know that political parties are in it to grab power. But the internal crisis in most of the parties, especially the two leading parties, is becoming disturbing. Very disturbing in such a way that it is affecting the polity already. And we should be very careful. We should be very, very mindful of the way we go about this, because we paid a price for this democracy that we are enjoying, and this is the longest one, at least as far as I can see it. Since I was born, this is the longest journey in democracy in this country. Don't let us take things for granted. Some people paid the price. Quite many people lost quite many things. Not necessarily material alone. Of course, for a fact. Chief M.K. Abiola paid with his price.
His life.
He did pay the price. General Shehu Musa Yaradua paid. Baba Alfred Rewani paid.
Kudirat Abiola
did pay. And so many others.
So many students, so many activists, market women.
Of course,
Nigerians.
because some people do not know what went into this. That's why we are toying with it. And people are disappointed. That is the truth. Quite many people are disappointed. Our political leaders are not delivering the way they should the bountiful dividends of democracy to the people. Let them give a sigh of relief. When you invest in something, it's only good that you reap the reward.
But Mr. Salami, is some people who are not necessarily members of the PDP would not agree with you. If the PDP decides to self-destruct, that should be the problem of the PDP members and not the problem of Nigeria, because the PDP is not Nigeria. They would argue. So what we should be talking about is how do we entrench democracy in Nigeria?
Lawrence, if we get our democracy right, our politics, if we get our politics right, quite half of our problem is solved.
Yeah.
Whether you are a PDP card carry member or not, whatever happens in the polity one way or the other will affect you. That is why it's better they get it right. People always say something. If your neighbor is eating something that is not particularly good, it is in your interest to caution him. If you fail to caution him at night, the disturbing noise that will come from him may not allow you
to sleep. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's leave it at that for now. And from one political party to another, Labour Party kicks as Soludo rejects absolute LG autonomy. And the story has it that criticisms have trailed the signing into law of the Anambra local government administration law by Governors Chukwuma Soludo on Tuesday. Soludo said that the law was necessitated by the fact that granting absolute autonomy to the 774 local government areas was a recipe for humongous chaos and would not lead to a sustainable development. Soludo argued that the Supreme Court judgment did not nullify Section 7 of the 1999 Constitution. The House had passed a bill titled Anambra Local Government Administration 2024 during its plenary last Tuesday. Speaking, Soludo insisted that Section 7 of the Constitution empowered the state governments to enact enabling laws for the administration of the respective local government areas across the country. Mr. Salami.
As Soludo taking the silk?
No.
Even if he has, how can he sit in judgment over the pronouncement from the highest court in the land? The Supreme Court has expressly pronounced that there should be autonomy in the local governments, and that whatever is accruable or due to the local government should be on a first line charge. It should go direct to the councils. Who are you to sit over
but Mr.
whatever you have, in as much as it will affect the finances, the structure and the running of local government? It is against the pronouncement of the Supreme Court. And in any case, Soludo is not a lawyer. The buck stops at the desk of the Supreme Court.
Okay, Mr. Salami, the Anambra State Governor raised some critical questions that we need to talk about. He said that the judgment of the Supreme Court did not annul Section 7 of the Constitution, which empowers the state assemblies to enact laws for the administration of the respective local governments across it. And you know, after that judgment, a lot of people were asking, what happens to the constitutional provision of the joint account, state local government joint account, which is still in the Constitution as we speak?
Lawrence, the pronouncements coming from the temple of justice, especially the Supreme Court, is law on its own.
Does that nullify that aspect of the Constitution?
No, it was expressly stated in the Constitution how the Constitution can be amended.
Okay. So,
but what we are saying is this: there is the need for the National Assembly and the Judicial Council to meet and discuss. Because as we all know, the governors are not, from what is coming from their body language anyway, they are not comfortable with the judgment of the Supreme Court, especially as it relates to the autonomy for the local government council. And we know, Lawrence, that when money is involved, and big money is involved, do you know that people don't always like to leave their comfort zone? For so many years, the governors or the state governments have been helping themselves to the allocations of the local government. We are saying this with all sense of responsibility.
Okay.
That is why the Supreme Court insisted, and rightly too, that whatever is due to the councils should go directly to the councils, and in any case that it should be on the first line charge.
Okay.
This to me
Mr.
is
Sam.
good. Why? The local government is the closest and nearest to the people. There must be development
Okay.
at the local government level.
All right.
That will help, and to a large extent, remove the pressure on the state government and the federal government.
Okay, brilliantly put, but let's come back to the reality. How do we amend the sections of the constitutions if the governors are against it?
Lawrence, there are 3 tiers of government. They are separate, but that does not mean that they will not work together. You understand what I'm saying? They are, to put it rightly, interdependent. What is important is the seamless working of the government, and this can be done provided that we put the people at the center of whatever we do, and not our personal greed and primordial or primitive acquisition or craft.
The way you're speaking, you remind me of those days of student unionism with all this your agitative way of speaking. Anyway, but what we are station, you need the passage at the National Assembly and 24 states. Two-third. Now, if the governors that we know who are normally in charge of the state assemblies, how is this possible?
Lawrence, it's still part of the problem we are trying to resolve. The question is this: are governors emperors?
You answer. Are they not?
Well, as it seems, they seem to be. But the truth is this: I still want to believe that irrespective of the feelings of the governors, what should be more important to Nigerians is what is right.
Okay. All right, Mrs. Simon, let's not overflow this. Let's leave it at that. And we're still talking about the judiciary. This day newspaper has a story. CJN laments number of pending cases, threatens sack of non-performing judges. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, has lamented the increasing number of cases pending in superior courts across the country. The CJN, will link the high number of cases to poor performance of some judges, warned that the National Judicial Council will not hesitate to show underperforming judges the way out of the bench. Kekereekun sounded the warning yesterday in Abuja while declaring open conference of judges. The CJN seems to be talking tough.
Yes, she needs to, and she is, because the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. The judiciary should be mindful of the pronouncements coming from the hallowed temple of justice. The ordinary man should go away with the impression, yes, justice has been served. That is the acid test. Irrespective of the legal, the legalism or the judicial procedure and others, the real acid test is how will the ordinary man interpret the judgment? Will he go about or go away and say, yes, I have received justice. Justice has been served. They are not particularly interested in the technicalities or others. They are more interested in the substantive justice. Though there is nothing like absolute justice. It is justice according to the law. And the ordinary man does not know this, that even the courts are not Father Christmas. They can never be. They dispense justice based on the evidence placed before them.
Okay, yeah, I think that's great. And for me, I think the CGN should not just talk tough. She should also provide the environment for judges to thrive.
Conducive environment
for them to thrive, so that when these things are provided, then you can now say, okay, there is a benchmark. If you fall below this, you are out.
By that time, she has moral justification
to embark on that. But whatever it is, we wish her the best as she decides to cleanse the system. We hope that she succeeds, because normally when you decide to do stuff like this, some interests will fight back viciously just to maintain the status quo.
She's ready to step on toes, sore toes to speak.
All right.
And there are so many sore toes.
So many across. But whatever it is, Mrs. Salami, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Let's leave it at that for today. We'll make it a day tomorrow. Thank you so much, Salman Salami, Chief Operating Officer, Citizen 93.7 FM, Abuja.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
All right, that's our package on the program today. Tomorrow is another day, 7 a.m., bright and early. Let's meet then. My name is Lawrence Omoiti. Enjoy the rest of your day.